Welcome to the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Thursday, July 23rd. This is Gina McGuire. We are still expecting no significant impacts to fire potential across the Great Basin. Showers and thunderstorms today will be pushed a little further east and north, but still occur across most of Idaho and Wyoming into northwest Utah and parts of northern and central Nevada, but will still bring wetting rains. This will still likely generate increased initial attack across the northern Great Basin. However, the potential for large problem fires still remains low due to the moisture in place. Yesterday we saw quite a bit of lightning over the northern two-thirds of the Great Basin, with wetting rains widespread across the area, where most areas saw at least 1/4 of an inch of rainfall, and many areas across Nevada into Idaho saw over 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch of rainfall, and localized areas seeing above an inch with some flash flooding. Yesterday, due to the rainfall, even though there was lightning, it was generally light initial attack across the Great Basin. The water vapor satellite image from Thursday morning shows this trough of low pressure along the west coast, which is helping to push that deeper moisture slightly further east today, with low fire potential in all areas due to the moisture we've seen recently and what's upcoming for today and tomorrow. Temperatures for today will be similar to what we saw yesterday and generally a few degrees below average. And today the better chances of more significant wetting rains with the lightning will be over parts of northeast Nevada and to far northwest Utah, Idaho, and parts of western Wyoming. There still are flash flood watches in effect today for western Wyoming. Now looking at Friday into the weekend, we will continue to see drier air work its way into the southern half of the Great Basin, and this trough along the west coast will push some of that moisture on Friday further northeast into far northeast Nevada, Idaho, and Wyoming, and far northern Utah. However, rainfall amounts will likely be lower than what we'll see today across the northern Great Basin. Temperatures on Friday will be near to what we see today and remain a few degrees below normal, with again still those widely scattered showers and thunderstorms expected over the northern portion of the Great Basin. By Saturday, as this trough works into the west coast again drier air is expected in most areas with very limited lightning activity on Saturday, and you can start to see that drying emerge into parts of Nevada and southern and western Utah. Temperatures will increase a degree or so on Saturday, and any lightning or thunderstorms will likely be confined to parts of northern Idaho into the northern Rockies by Saturday. However, on Sunday, another trough of low pressure will move into the Pacific Northwest, and this may bring more showers and thunderstorms to parts of Idaho as we move into Sunday into Monday, with drier conditions continuing over the rest of the Great Basin. As we move into Monday and the early part of next week, this trough swings eastward, and again dry weather is expected across all of the Great Basin for several days next week, and also a ridge of high pressure will start to build further north from the southwest, bringing much hotter temperatures and continued dry weather with humidity dropping back down to near 10% across many areas of the Great Basin. Temperatures will likely increase near 100 degrees in some valleys across the Great Basin, and areas over far southern Nevada and southwest Utah may reach or exceed 105 to 108 degrees. This will bring rapid drying to the fuels from the moisture that we've seen recently. Looking at the amount of forecast precipitation for the next 2 days, today again we'll see some wetting rains across parts of Idaho, Wyoming, and into northeast Nevada, far northern Utah, with similar conditions on Friday. However, some of that deeper moisture will be pushed further east. Looking at the fire danger indices across the Great Basin, conditions have been increasing with respect to ERCs over the southern half of the Great Basin due to the dryness we started to see yesterday. However, ERCs still remain below normal and below the 50th percentile in most locations. Looking at Idaho, we've seen drier conditions further north, and ERCs are near normal in some areas. However, some of the wet weather we'll see over the next 2 days may allow those ERCs to decrease slightly. Live fuel moisture has still been on the downward trend over the last couple of weeks and is generally near normal across the Great Basin. As we move towards the later part of July into early August, as that stronger ridge of high pressure develops across the Great Basin, we'll likely see a return to above normal temperatures and drier conditions, at least initially, before some moisture starts to work into parts of the southern Great Basin as we move later in the first week of August. That concludes the briefing for today. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us. Otherwise, you can follow us on Twitter. Thank you for listening.